Good morning and welcome to the public hearing on the proposed regulations regarding conciliation procedures of the Civil Rights Department. My name is Alexandria Sadler, and I am a senior counsel for the Legislative and Regulatory Affairs Unit at the California Civil Rights Department. It is 11:01, and we are physically located at 555 12th Street, Suite 2050, Lake Merritt Conference Room in Oakland, California, 94607. This public hearing is being webcast live via Zoom video conference and will also be available afterwards on the Civil Rights Department's website and the Civil Rights Department's YouTube channel. We also have captioning available for participants, which you can find at the bottom of the Zoom bar features. Members of the public joining virtually may notice that you are currently muted and your video is disabled at this time. The Q&A and chat functions are also disabled. However, there will be an opportunity for public comment. We have a number of ways for you to provide input and comment. You can send an email to alexandria.sadler@calcivilrights.ca.gov. That is ALEXAndria@calcivilrights.ca.gov. We will be checking this email throughout the meeting, and your comment will be read aloud. If you decide to speak in person rather than through an email, please raise your hand at the time we request public comment. If you are attending the meeting through Zoom and would like to make a public comment, please click Raise Hand in Zoom or press *9 if you have called in. If you'd like to rename yourself in the Zoom list of participants, you can find yourself on the list and click Rename in the list of options next to your name. We request that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. I'd also like to acknowledge the following department staff members: Director Kevin Kish, Assistant Chief Counsel of Legislative and Regulatory Affairs, Rachel Langston, and Senior Legislative and Regulatory Counsels, Mariel Block and Suj Lee. On March 14th, 2025, the Civil Rights Department published a notice of proposed rulemaking regarding proposed revisions to its procedural regulations set forth in Chapter 1 of Division 4.1 of Title II of the California Code of Regulations. That notice began a 45-day public comment period, which ends today, April 28th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. The purpose of today's public hearing is to receive public comment on the proposed regulations regarding conciliation procedures of the Civil Rights Department. The department is holding this hearing as part of our formal rulemaking process pursuant to Government Code Section 11346.8. The hearing was scheduled after being requested by the public. The hearing was noticed through email on April 16th, 2025, and published on the Civil Rights Department's website. The proposed revisions would update references to the department to reflect its current name, clarify all statutes over which it has jurisdiction, revise, remove, consolidate, and add definitions, including but not limited to definitions relevant to the department's conciliation and mediation procedures, as well as various department divisions, revise regulations regarding filing civil actions, and revise, remove, and add regulations regarding the department's conciliation and mediation procedures, and consolidate those procedures in proposed new subchapter 4. Copies of the proposed regulations are available in the front of the room and are available online, along with supporting rulemaking papers at www.calcivilrights.ca.gov/procedural-rulemaking/. Pursuant to the notice, we are taking testimony on the proposed regulations here today, and we will accept written comments on the proposed regulations until 11:59 p.m. tonight, April 28th. You may also email written comments to me at alexandria.sadler@calcivilrights.ca.gov. You may also mail written comments addressed to me, Alexandria Sadler, Senior Counsel, Civil Rights Department, 555 12th Street, Suite 2050, Oakland, California, 94607, but mailed comments must be postmarked by today. Alternatively, if you brought a written comment, a copy of your comments, and you have not and do not plan to submit them separately via email, you can give a copy to me today. Please remember that comments must be emailed, postmarked, or hand delivered by the end of today. Anyone who testifies here today or submits written comments will receive a copy of any changes or amendments that are made by the department, as well as will anyone who else requests a copy. If there are further changes made by the department to the proposed regulations after today, then the public will have a 15-day period within which to make written comments regarding those changes. The department will consider each comment made here today, as well as written comments received or postmarked by today's deadline. The department will respond to each of the comments in its final statement of reasons, which will become part of the rulemaking record. This hearing is being recorded today and will be transcribed. The transcription, as well as all written comments received, will be part of the official rulemaking record. Because the hearing is being recorded, it is critical that anyone speaking does so clearly and that only one person speaks at a time. Also, if you are commenting on a specific subsection of the regulation, please identify that subsection so that we may refer to it while you're providing your input. We will hear testimony until all those wishing to testify today have had the opportunity to do so. We are now opening the floor for public comments. If you are in person, please raise your hand. If you're joining remotely today via Zoom, please raise your hand virtually, and you will be asked to unmute to provide your testimony. We request that you begin by stating and spelling your name and any affiliation you're representing. As a reminder, if you're commenting on a specific subsection, please identify that subsection. Each public comment will be limited to 3 minutes. Do we have any public comment in Zoom?
Yes, Mary. Please unmute.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Okay, I want to actually, I'm going to go in and change. I want to be identified as a member of the public. So I have 3 comments today, and I have them in writing also. I'm not going to read them verbatim. I'm going to send them in, but I wanted to just kind of condense them with some questions or concerns that are specific, and maybe I can get some answers on them today, or oh shoot, I just lost it. 1 second. Okay, so is that okay? Do I get 3 minutes for each comment for different subsections?
You have 3 minutes total.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me think of how I can condense this. Have a big concern about removing the word trained from the requirement for mediators. I understand that the department has trained mediators, but removing it from the regulation back to an administrative policy leaves out public comment and notification of changes. And that's important because there's a lot of confusion out there about some of the actions that take place in the mediation process, both generally, but very specifically to a large cohort or group, which are senior citizens over the age of 65 through 80 through 100 who live in retirement communities. They have specific amenities that most other housing situations don't have, and can tell that mediators may not have enough training in this subcategory of this large group. By way of example, in affirmative relief, one mediation allowed requiring a written reasonable accommodation request and implementing a 30-day response for such requests, which is the opposite of regulation, and also CRD training that's provided to the public and also attorneys for their continuing education. Let's see, next comment. I think since I only have 3 minutes, I'm going to use the last couple minutes to identify a huge problem within senior rights, their civil rights and constitutional rights. And that's because there is the Senior Housing Guide to Fair Housing and Compliance written by their general counsel. And in that publication, which is given out to over 7,000 administrators of retirement communities nationwide, he basically says,
Excuse me, thank you for your comment. That's been 3 minutes. Is there any other public comment in Zoom?
No further public comment.
Okay, I don't see any public comments submitted via email. And there's no public comment in person. It appears that everyone who would like to provide public comment during today's hearing has now had the opportunity to do so. I'd like to remind everyone that the department will still accept written comments until midnight tonight. Thank you for your participation. It is 11:12 a.m. and this public hearing has now concluded.